Here he is. Here he is. Here he is.
Hello, hello.
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Just, trying to stay alive, trying to stay healthy.
Doing them quarantine things?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, well, I'm in St. Louis right now. I kind of got stranded here just before everything kind of popped off. But, I'm home with family, so I'm making the best of it.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. The best thing you can do is make the best of the time, right? There's no. We were just having a discussion. There are no days off when you're always grinding.
Yeah, definitely, man. Especially as a creative, like I feel like it puts us in an interesting position right now where, yeah, we're stuck home, but most of us sort of have like, if not the access, the ability to work from home. You know what I mean? So we really kind of don't have any excuse. Like the world is a little different to what we know it right now, but our purpose remains the same.
Yeah, man. I love that. And for me personally, like when the rest of my life got turned off, my creative ability like enhanced. Like I've been making more and more creative pieces because everything else is shut down. I need to do something.
There you go. And I feel there's a lot less pressure too. Like I don't feel as pressured to meet, a lot of these like imaginary deadlines that I put on myself. I just think about what I feel like. If I feel like, working on music, I'll work on some music. If I feel like working on some visual stuff, I'll work on some visual stuff. If I feel like just going for a drive and getting some fresh air, I'm going to do that. If I feel like, binging a whole season on Netflix for the day, I'm going to do that. But, it's just it's an interesting position, man. Like having a whole thing being put on pause along with you. It takes a lot of that stress away. As like, if I actually take this break for myself, I gotta run and catch up to everyone else because we all just on the same reset, So it's a blessing. We're doing what we can with it.
That's cool, man.
That's a great way to put it. It is one of those things where the one thing we said probably maybe a month or so is we're in this time that there's never been a time like this where literally everything is shut down, and you can come out of it with nothing. Or you can come out of it with 30 songs that I just did for fun, just because I wanted to keep that creative energy going.
Exactly. For me, I've been doing a lot of I've been recording a lot. Like I'm a studio rat a little bit, so I've amassed a pretty big catalog of music that I'm only now really getting the opportunity to like package in the way that I wanted to and fine tune a lot of those records. I've been having a lot of fun doing that.
It's like 63 songs, right?
I mean, it's a little over 100 at this point, but yeah, it was.
Who does that? Wow. Who does that?
I just look at it as like I'm competing with like people I look up to is like Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? Like his work ethic is ridiculous. People like Jay-Z, his work ethic is ridiculous, and it shows. You know what I mean? Like so, I just feel like that's what I'm competing with. So that's the level of work that I'm gonna put in. But honestly, I really like it. I like being in the studio is one of my favorite aspects of being a musician, for sure. So yeah, I have a lot of songs. What can I say?
No, that's incredible, man.
That's a good thing.
That's incredible. I love that you said you're competing with Lil Wayne. I really like that. I think that it puts you, it must motivate you. You can't think that and not do anything.
Definitely, and it's always like key to look at it in a healthy way. Where like, yeah, I'm competing with these people in terms of like that's the level of greatness or that's the standard that I've set for myself. But ultimately, I'm really competing with myself. I'm trying to be better than the last thing I did. You know what I mean? And that's what really sort of motivates me. But I know that is that's the standard because they've already paved the way. You know what I mean? And that's how they got there. So at the very least, I have to put in that amount of work.
Yeah, I'm trying to drive that highway, but at the same time, this highway needs some renovations. I'm trying to renovate it, improvise it, and become that next highway that kids will follow.
Exactly, bro.
I like that, man. You're inspirational, and right now you're down in St. Lucia, and you have ties with Canada. So what's the connection there? How did you come this way?
I actually came out to Canada for school in 2008. I went to school in Halifax. Shout out all my Halifax people in the place. I went to St. Mary's University and I studied marketing. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in commerce, with a focus in marketing. And then I moved to Toronto And I mean, music had always been the motive. School had just been the vehicle to get me out the country
Yeah.
to a spot that, you know, I felt was somewhere where I could nurture my craft and push my career, you know. So obviously, you know, seen as the mecca of the music industry, and it's proven to be time and time again. So I just figured, you know, Toronto.
Uh-oh.
You're cutting up a little bit there. Sorry, you're cutting up a little bit.
Came back.
You came back.
We heard that Toronto is the mecca of the music industry, and you thought that would be a good place to kind of land.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you're silent.
The volume has
silent. Oh shit. Oh, he's gone.
We'll get him back. We'll get him back.
He's coming
This is
back.
just a connection
He's
issue.
coming back.
We'll get this man back.
So when he comes back, we're gonna have a lot of chats. We're gonna chat about. I want to know how it was like being a mentor with Classify. Here we go. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Get him back.
Here we go. I want to hear about that. I want to know about his new EP dropping soon. Don't worry, J-Back. He's coming back. He's coming back. It's okay. We're good. It doesn't have good Wi-Fi. I heard. Yeah. So J-Bax is down there giving a shout out. I'm not sure who that is, but that person says they helped you pass. So that's clearly someone who knows
That's pretty good. That's good. That's a good personal connection there.
Oh man,
the sound is still out, unfortunately. Yep.
Yeah, that's my brother right there. We went to school together, and
man, the Wi-Fi. Can any of our people hear him?
We got you now. We got you now.
Holy moly! So
technology roller coaster.
I gotta know, how did you meet Classified, and what's it been like working with him?
How did I meet Class? Well, I mean, Halifax is a small place, first and foremost. I've been sort of like making my rounds, networking where I could in Halifax. I used to do a lot of open mic stuff. So I met Quake through, also met Littles the General, rest in peace, Littles the General, through doing that. And it was just a lot of those mutual connections. I kept seeing him at the same places. I'd reach out, I'd say what up. And he had this Facebook competition, right? On where every artist had to send in like 3 songs to him, and then he would produce a song for them. Nice. So I gave him 3 songs that I already had. I won the competition. I went out to Enfield, had the session with him with 1 song. I'll never forget the session. The song was called Triumphant. One of the first times that I really like dug deep and made like this big stadium sound vibe with him, right? And it was supposed to, I love to keep working together. And I kept going out there maybe like every times a week. Actually,
wow.
J-Bax is in the building, was the one who would drive me to the sessions all the time. And next thing you know, we did a production deal. I went on tour with him, my manager, his booking agent, my booking agent, like adopted his infrastructure, and he nurtured me along the way through that.
We're hearing things come through, and the information that we're hearing come through is good. It's like, you work with them, 2 weeks, you end up, his team is you became like signed you. Yeah,
Oh man, he's gone.
That's
a really cool story though, because he applied, right? Like a lot of people, they don't even bother throwing it in, but he put himself in a contest, puts in 3 songs, and you win. So that's really cool. Hopefully my man Kayo can find some solid Wi-Fi and we can connect. Worst case scenario, we have to do this at different times. So
the biggest takeaway from even just that, though, is that when there is an opportunity for you to submit some of your work for, even just recognition from someone that might see it, might not see it, still submit it, because someone has to still review that, right? So it's like, someone's going to listen to that song even if you submit it. So, he did the excellent thing. He went above and beyond and submitted 3 songs. So it's like, if you didn't like 1 or 2, guess what? You're going to love 3. But guess what? He loved 1, 2, and then probably 3 as well, because and now look where it got him.
I also think it was really smart to go to school for marketing. Like, how many artists don't have an understanding of who their market is and who they're talking to and where how
to properly sell themselves or how to properly get to the avenues.
That's so crucial. So I really want to see if we can hopefully get some connection here. Here it comes one more time. We're doing this. Committed.
Let's get them.
Here we go.
I'm back. Okay.
Back. There we go.
Yo, you're in a different spot every time.
I'm literally trying to find the best spot for this.
Yeah, no worries, man. And hey, look, when this all thing is over, we'd love to have you in studio, have an official interview. That'd be really cool.
Definitely, man. I love to do that. But it's great to be able to connect like this nonetheless. Thank God for the internet.
It's really cool, man. And you're all the way across the damn planet. Like, that's awesome.
From us, man.
So talk to us about Knowhere. I love that you spelled it with a K, like really smart. To know, like knowledge, right? Knowhere.
Exactly, yeah.
That's sick.
Thank you.
So where did that come from? But also talk to me about, I've heard a little bit of the music. We heard your kind of sneak peek and a few of the songs.
Okay, so Knowhere, so I did a project. First of all, shout out Yogi, the producer. He produced the entire thing. He's also a solution friend of mine, and he resides in Toronto. He actually just got 2 placements on the Kehlani album that just came out.
Nice.
And he's one of those people like Jordan who has been like a part of my career from day one. So in 2015, we did an EP together, a 4-track EP called Knowhere, but it was spelled Knowhere, right? And that project was supposed to be one of 4 projects where once we were done with the 4 projects, it will all come together and we'll make an entire album. But we never even got that far into the plan. Like life just sort of, did what it happened. You know what I mean? But it being sort of the 5-year anniversary of that project, I wanted to do something with Yogi yet again, where we just sort of honed in. Whenever it is we work together, like I'm sure people who are a fan of what it is that I do can attest to this, that like when me and Yogi work together, it's a different energy, it's a different vibe, and I really wanted to tap into that and just sort of have fun with it. So this one is a 6-track project. It's entitled Knowhere, Knowhere, and it's supposed to be a follow-up to that project that we did in 2015. Man, musically, it was one of those situations, and I told you this too about whether or not we should put it out right now because it's such a weird time. You know what I mean? Like, will people really be able to take in the music? Is the music sort of relevant to what's going on right now? Is it gonna move people that I wanted to, given the circumstances? Or even just like from a promotional standpoint, like I can't go do a press run, or I can't go do a release party, or I can't do shows around it. So there was that. But for a number of reasons, one, because I have a lot of music and I already had these sort of plans slated out, and 2, I just feel like, especially with what's going on as an artist, this is one of my outlets, and this is very much for me as much as it is for my fans. You know what I mean? So I just hope that it resonates with people in the way that I hope it does, and it connects, and there's something on there that they connect with. You know what I mean?
That's really cool, man. I like that. Go ahead.
Is the big part of that follow-up album, doing that follow-up to the original there, would you ever recommend people listen to the first and then listen to the second, just to truly appreciate the different vibe?
It's you could tell the growth in a way. Like I'm obviously a little bit more polished on this one.
Yeah.
But the energy is similar. So listening to Knowhere from 2015 and then listening to Knowhere in 2020, you can get that sort of, so it still feels like a full project. And I really like doing that, honestly. Like I consider myself a project artist more than a singles artist. I like to get kind of conceptual with my projects. If not thematically, then aesthetically or sonically, there's a vibe that sort of ties it all together. I really take pride in like taking a collection of songs and refining them to where they feel like a finished body of,
Right on. And I feel like I went once when fans hear that, I feel like they end up kind of, a lot of them end up hearing that, what you're kind of, getting across, and then they listen also for that change. They pick up on those things you're saying and the vibes you're throwing out there, and I feel like fans just love that when they can connect with that, and then also appreciate the change of, 5 years is a lot of time, and then to see how much growth and how much that flower is sprouted, and how break out and kick ass on the scene you are. I think people love and appreciate that.
Yeah, and I was even able to like sort of reference moments on the prior project in this new project, which is kind of cool in a way in which like I tied it together, because there were a lot of moments from Knowhere from 2015 that I feel people really resonated with, and I wanted to not necessarily recreate, but capture that energy or harness that energy.
Cool, man.
That's very
Hey,
cool.
you've
That's
had a couple really cool comments, by the way. I've just been watching the stream as we're talking, and some people, the most recent one says Kayo's the most underrated artist ever. I saw a couple ones at the very beginning saying best rap guy on the planet right now, so you have some huge fans.
Thank you.
It's crazy because I actually have one of a song, if I'm not mistaken, that features you in my SoundCloud. I listened to it probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's like when I saw it came up, Kayo, I'm like, get out of here! Get
Are
you serious? Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's awesome, man. Being able to
like do all of them freestyles and the remix stuff, you could just get creative freely with it. So anybody who isn't up on Spotify, well, I mean, if you are up on Spotify, I'd still urge you to follow my SoundCloud because I got a lot of gems on it.
Yeah, and that's where I find and that's what I appreciated way back, back in 2013, 12, when I discovered SoundCloud that's where artists post that stuff that, maybe doesn't make it to an album, but that's where they post their freestyles, they're just their fun stuff.
That's where they try their shit.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
I love that. So you went to school for marketing, and I didn't know that until you said that in this conversation.
True.
Has that like low key helped you totally a lot?
Low key helped you totally. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I thought so.
Absolutely, because like what it did, like I look at marketing as like business psychology. You know what I mean? So like you're really trying to figure out how to make someone think they need this thing when they don't really need it.
They don't really need it.
So it's like, how do you create that interest in something, right? You have to get them sort of personally or emotionally invested in it. So I just, knowing that, I've always sort of applied that to my branding, my packaging, my rollout. I do all of that stuff myself. I do most of the artwork myself. I do all of the visual stuff. Like the entire art direction is something. That's why I was talking about, like, sort of creating a vibe or a theme, if not sonically, aesthetically, really sort of capturing all of that and finding a way to move people. I just looked at my music to think that any company would look at a brand or a product. And that sort of helped me separate in a way where, like, I could be me, Kayo, the feeling, and I could be sort of Kayo, the brand, the business, the product. You know what I mean? So having that sort of that sensibility definitely helps me how I approach it. It's just how I move it.
That's really cool, man. I can even hear it when you're saying I'd prefer to do projects than songs. I'm like, that's just another clever way that he's separating himself from other people, right? Like, I was listening to Birds, which came out pretty recently, right?
Yeah, February 14th.
Yeah, and it was like, so a couple months ago is about right. And I was listening to it, and like each song like flowed really nicely into the next song. And I was wondering, like, I was kind of annoyed. I was like, 24 minutes, this is bullshit. But then when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, I totally get it. Like, this is why, right?
Yeah. It's a cool thing that you picked up on that, too, because I like doing short projects. If you notice, a lot of them are like you'll rarely get a project from me that's like 45 minutes. Usually they're like half hour, 25 minutes. I like getting that because it has replay value. You know what I mean? Like people will usually listen to the project and feel like, man, this was dope. I wish there was more of it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
That's the mindset to keep it, because sometimes with albums, there's a lot of albums that you in full you listen to, you're like, man, I could have taken that without a couple of those songs, but when you have it in the reverse, where it's like, damn, I wish I had a couple more songs,
Exactly.
keeps the people coming back.
Exactly.
Your video,
albums, bro, like if there's one or two songs on the album that I can skip on it, I can't rate that album as highly as I would if I could listen to it, just press play and just let that run, and it just feels like a
Yeah.
full.
Yeah, 100%.
So for me, as a fan of music, I've always tried to apply that to my music. So I want people to have that same feeling, that same
Yeah.
vibe when they listen to the shit. It feels like a movie. It feels like a soundtrack. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yes.
That actually happened to me when I was listening to your tunes. I try and get an idea of like early career, mid career, recent, and I went through Soulstice Radio. It was like 36 minutes, and like I got to this really dope sax thing in the middle. It was a saxophone solo, and I was like, "How long have I been listening to this?" And it was like minute 18 or something, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome. You just got me for so long."
Yeah, bro. Yep. Even with Soulstice Radio too, that's a cool avenue that I've been exploring. And that again comes from, I guess, my marketing background, where I'm trying to develop a brand outside of Kayo that will sort of live long after I'm done, or long after I decide not to be doing music. You know what I mean? So it started as a live event series, and it sort of evolved over the course of the years to really being like a platform for not just artists here, but like people that I've come across during the course of my travel. So the third album actually came out under the Soulstice Sound imprint. You know what I mean? And I hope to be able to create, again, this whole COVID thing kind of put a spoke in our wheels, so to speak. But we have plans to do these writing camps and these shows and festivals and all of these things all under the Soulstice brand. But Soulstice Radio is just another one of those avenues. It's sort of like OVO Radio or Selection Radio, you know, sort of like a playlist of all of the creatives that I've come across over the course of my journey, whether it be from here in St. Lucia, whether it be from like Atlanta, whether it be from Toronto or Halifax, wherever, but
Anywhere.
tell a story in a way. But then they all really, like, even from episode 1 up to episode 4, which we just dropped last week, you can listen to them 1 to 4, and it just feels like a long ass playlist, like a move, you know, of all great music that people are like my friends, you know, which is surreal to be able to even say.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I love that, man.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And you're actually, so what I like about you is you're not like mono-minded, right? Like you have like this plurality. You're doing festivals and you're doing EPs and you're doing radio station, and you're building a brand that's outside. And I think it's not like just really musical talent that makes someone become someone, right? It's like all of these other things additional to musical talent that people have. And it's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see the way that you're applying them, man. So how's this festival going to work? How are you going to do that?
It's gonna. So I do this.
You're excited about it. I see a huge smile.
Oh yeah. We had it all planned out. It was gonna happen in August. We were gonna bring. It would be a week-long festival. It would start with a workshop and symposium the first day. And then the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday would be writing camps, where I'd bring in people from the States, people from Canada, to work with people in the Caribbean and people in St. Lucia, so that we'd amass, you know, a catalog of music at the end of those 3 days that either the artists involved could use for themselves, we could pitch the labels or pitch the other artists as projects, or we could use for sync licensing or publishing, things of that nature, you know what I mean? So those are also aspects of the industry that I really try to delve into a little bit. And then the Thursday night would have been the festival in St. Lucia. It's really sort of like an intimate villa sunset party kind of vibe, right?
Ooh.
The whole shit. I'm sad even just thinking about it, knowing that I can't do it right now.
No, it's gonna happen, man. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
And then we would do that, and then also Soulstice, the brand itself, would then have a stage that happens in every festival that takes place in Canada. So, for instance, Manifesto, North by Northeast, Canadian Music Week, of that nature. I want to be able to build a Soulstice stage in each one of those festivals, so that we can now have like an export channel, if you will, that will be able to take talent from St. Lucia, talent from the Caribbean and that region, and then be able to put them in a stage right away. And this is something that will happen annually, so it'll be the album that we do at the beginning of the year, which would probably be music that we ended up doing from the workshop at the end of the year.
That's awesome.
That's really smart, man.
That's so
because
cool.
because also like the number of connections that are going to happen in the workshops, let alone in the crowd, right? Like, and then you get people who are working together, and maybe it's like, hey, if you want to if there's something really fire that's written at your camp, there's like a quick sign to, maybe Soulstice Records or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the licenses, which you obviously know about, are all yours, and then and also it gives you really good cross. Like
Motion,
yeah, exactly.
branding,
I would say cross exposure into another country when they're flying back up to Canada.
Yep. The key thing for me.
Did you plan that in your own head or with other people?
This has been something that it's always been my dream to do this. It just, as the years progressed and as it developed, as it started to take on a life of its own, the how of how to do it started to make a little bit more sense. I always knew that was the goal, but I didn't know how exactly.
How to build the pyramid, right? So to speak.
Like, all of these things that I'm implementing and I'm applying is really things that I've learned over the course of my own career of having to do a lot of those on my own. Like, I've always had a team, but I've always been very hands-on. And, Jordan, if he's still in here, he could attest to that. Like, I've always been very hands-on with a lot of the things. So I've had the opportunity to learn and understand a lot of the aspects of things around me. And even just, like, from going to school, just planning my own events, like, these are things that I've always done, outside of just the music. So I've understood the importance of it. And the mere fact that I enjoy all aspects of it makes me know that music is always going to be a passion and a love of mine, but it's just one of many things. You know what I mean? So I just prefer to look at myself as an overall creative. I try to learn new things every day that I could apply to everything that I'm already doing. And man, I just look forward to continuing to see where this goes and have fun while I'm doing it.
That's honestly, with that attitude, that mentality, and that energy that you keep kind of fueling the fire with, the only way I see the future going is up, my friend. That's the only way. It's the only way it's projected to go. You continuously trying, refining, and then taking all these talent. And then, as you said, going to different festivals and exposing yourself to different crowds. That's just, it literally is how you start a wildfire amongst a country that can spread to different countries, that can spread across the world.
Yep, definitely.
That's
the only
cool,
thing that's interesting now is how exactly we implement a lot of these similar ideas in whatever the world is going to look like after COVID-19.
After this, yeah.
And
restrictions, traveling restrictions, even the live performance restrictions. That's a huge thing that I don't really know if anybody knows what the future is going to be like.
Right? Like, for instance, you don't even know if there's going to be like a set limit or a cap on the amount of people that could be in a event now because of social.
In a venue, yeah. And even if it's like just that building capacity, maybe 10,000, but if we have these guidelines, do we have to drop it down to 6,000 max with staff and everything? Like,
I mean, we jack the ticket prices up, or
everything goes up.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different things that we kind of had to take into consideration, even when they finally reopen the borders. Like, reopening the borders is one thing, but then there's also whether or not airlines are going to be flying to those regions. And then if the airlines are even flying to those regions, are people confident enough now to take those trips for leisure?
Yeah. Even like you said, imagine
makes sense again.
Yeah, you're right. Like if every restaurant just said we're open for business. I don't think a lot of people are going to want to just get jam-packed into a restaurant.
Exactly.
So maybe a lot more outdoor.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But
and even cyber.
Create the content and keep feeding, the people the content, creating that demand.
That's it, man. So I have one last question for you here, but I want you to give yourself, give a shout out to the 8 people. So you have an EP coming called Knowhere. Someone asked, I think it was IME and Scott asked if you were still working with Yogi, but you have music coming out with him in 2 days, right?
Yep.
So, literally, yes, loud week. Yes, and it's coming out in 2 fucking days, so look for it.
Actually, you can go to the link in my bio once you get off of this, and you could pre-save the album right now. Whether you Spotify,
fantastic.
Shoot that over to us, and we'll put it with our story as well.
Yeah.
We would love to do that for you, man. I had here this question. Yeah. So our show is all about helping artists make money on their art. You gave a lot of really good insights, but what would you say to someone like a musician or an artist who is looking to make a name for themselves but hasn't started yet, or is just at the beginning?
Three things, and I usually say this in all of my interviews because it kind of remains the same to this day. Keep going. First of all, the only thing that separates me from any of my counterparts was the fact that I kept going. I used to get made fun of in school, singing, rapping, all of that shit. But I kept going, and when everyone else stopped, I was the only one still in that race. You know what I mean? So there's one. Two is educate yourself, because this industry, this whole thing changes in a rapid pace, especially more nowadays, constantly. So constantly educate yourself, learn new shit, learn new techniques of whatever it is. Just make sure that like you wake up, you live, breathe, eat shit. This is it. You have to make sure that you sort of know the business or the world in which you're trying to immerse yourself in. And three is stay true to yourself and just make sure that you're having fun doing it and it still feels right to you. And like we as human beings, we're all really sort of searching for some sort of purpose. But that purpose is really within us, and it's up to us to decide what it is and manifest it. And once you've decided that, to follow through on it. You owe that to yourself.
Damn. That got deep. Number 3 got deep there, fam. Number 3 got deep. That's a good one. That's a
very
good one.
good answer. That's a very good answer, man. I asked that question to a lot of people, and I don't usually get that. I want you to sign this. I don't know if you can see that. But it's Kayo's 3 things. Yeah. So I need you to sign that for me, and I'll sell it for $1 million when you're super, super famous. All right. Listen, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really, really hoping to meet you in person when you come this way to Toronto.
We'll get you in the studio once we're allowed to cross.
Absolutely.
And if there's any way that we can help your festival or any of your distribution or anything, we're doing a really similar thing here under the name Drivewire as to what you're doing with Soulstice. We have like live events. We have obviously the shows we're coming out. I think it might be like an educational platform into the future. It would be really, really cool to see if we could help each other some way.
Absolutely, man. I look forward to that for sure. And again,
cool, brother.
Once we know what the world is going to look like.
Yeah, exactly.
The plan for it.
Let's make it happen, brother. Thank you so much for joining us, dude.
Thank you very much, man. Peace and love.
Peace out, brother. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.